This is the sixth in a series of tutorials for the Anglican Office Book 2nd edition. In this video, we will discuss the little hours of terce, sext, and none. These three little hours all follow the exact same pattern, and so for the sake of this tutorial, we will focus on the order as given at terce. Little hours always begin directly with these opening versicles at the very beginning, followed by a hymn that is generally invariable. The doxology of the hymn at each of the little hours can vary depending upon the season or the feast. We then continue straightway into the Psalms. The Psalms always begin, according to the simple rite, with one of these antiphons. Occasionally, a proper antiphon will be provided in the proper of seasons or in the proper of the saints. The Psalms may be read in one of three ways. Either the three Psalms may be read entire every day, invariably. Another option is that these three Psalms can be read according to the day of the week in a cycle, as is given with the small rubrics underneath each Psalm telling us which day of the week it should be read. A third option for reading the Psalms is found in the 2-week Psalter table on page 209 and page 210. This particular table gives variable psalms for the little hours for each day of the week, and they're all found right here. If one follows this particular table, then we will have the relative benefit of little hours being quite short and to the point, but nevertheless with some additional variability in the Psalter. In either case, we always pray the glory be to the Father after each psalm. And then, when the psalm or psalms are complete, we read the antiphon following in full. We never, under any circumstance in the little hours, no matter what the ranking of the feast, read the antiphon in full before the psalms. It is always read only in the incipit, that is, up to the asterisk. Following the Psalms, we have a short chapter reading that varies according to the season, and occasionally there will be a proper one given in the proper of the season or of the saints. On ordinary ferial days throughout the year, that is, days whereon a saint's feast is not observed, we will read the first chapter. On Sundays and feasts of the double class and higher, we will read the second chapter. And on every day, whether it is a feria or a feast, throughout Paschaltide, we will read the third chapter. Regardless of which chapter is read, at the end of it is the response, "Thanks be to God." We then have a short respond that varies according to the season or the feast. For ferial days throughout the year, we will read the first short respond. On all Sundays, feasts, and every day throughout Paschaltide, we will read the second respond. And of note that the Alleluias in parentheses are only to be added during Paschaltide. Otherwise, we ignore them. Following the short respond, we have the suffrages, and these are prayed depending on whether or not it is a feast day. If today were a feast, we will skip the suffrages and go straight to the collects. If, however, today is a ferial day outside of the Paschal season, we will immediately begin with the Kyrie eleison and the Lord's Prayer, which is prayed entirely in secret, and its last two clauses are repeated out loud, followed by a short series of versicles and responses. In either case, whether or not the suffrages have been prayed, we continue immediately with the salutation and the collect. The collect will always be that of the day in question. If, for example, today is a ferial day, then outside of Advent and Lent, the collect is that of the previous Sunday. If today is a feast, then the collect would be only that of the feast. Of note, it should be said that saints of memorial rank are only commemorated at First Evensong and Matins. The collect for any saint of memorial rank is never used at any of the little hours. After the proper collect of the day, there is then a votive collect at each of the little hours that helps to connect this particular hour with some part of the day or with an element in Christ's passion. After the votive collect, we have the salutation, the closing versicles, and finally, the proper grace. And this pattern holds true for each of the 3 little hours during the day. Here concludes this tutorial on little hours.